to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I'm giving you my February TBR. This TBR is very much all over the place. I want to fair warn that it is just absolute chaos. I was looking at it from a stats point of view, and I was like, what am I doing here? What is happening? Alright, there are 29 books, I believe, on this TBR. 28, 29 books on this TBR, which is not too wild of a TBR. It is about a book and a half a day for the month of February, so nothing too crazy. I should be, you know, a-okay for slowing down my reading a little bit, hopefully. But we've got some really interesting advanced reader copies that I have, and then some books for the Queer Book Crew, the book of the book pick of the month for the book club. So I am excited to talk about some of those things. Yeah, I'm gonna start with the childhood reread of the month, which is the Spiderweb Chronicles. I do own these physically. I will say that there are audiobooks that I will also be listening to while I'm working, but they are only 2 hours long a piece, but they do have special effects, music, and background sound, which is not my favorite with audiobooks. So because these books are very little snacks, I will probably be reading them predominantly physically. If you don't know what the Spiderweb Chronicles is about, it follows Jared and Simon, who are twins, and their sister Mallory, and they are generally also known as the Grace Children, after they move into this sort of obscure home and they find a secret library and their uncle's like field guide on the Fae, and after that adventures ensue accordingly. I do have the 2 series in the general series, which is the actual Spiderweb Chronicles and then the Beyond the Spiderweb Chronicles, which are a little bit longer and they came out a little bit later, but it's still very fun and very exciting. For series continuations, I will be rereading Malice by Heather Walter. That is the Sapphic Sleeping Beauty retelling, or Maleficent retelling, whichever story you want to pick. Essentially, the Sleeping Beauty actually ends up falling in love with the evil sorceress, and it turns out there's this whole thing with a wicked fairy who cursed a line of princesses to die, and it's broken by a true love's kiss. But what if the true love's kiss is from someone evil? And the ending from that book, if I remember correctly, wrecked the shit out of me, so I will be rereading it just to remind myself kind of the context and everything with that story. And then I will be reading Misrule, which is the sequel to that book, and I think it's a duology, so it will be the last book obviously in the set, and I have that book as an advanced reader copy. It does come out in May, so I'm very excited to get to reading it. I know I enjoyed the first book a ton. I don't physically own it, Bella does downstairs, so I might do a mix of like listening to it, because I do own the audiobook, or and physically reading it. It's a mixed bag though, so we'll see. Then I will be reading The Last Lies of Artur Ben by Tyler Whitesides. This is the last in the Artur Ben series, and Artur Ben has been tasked with stealing a living dragon. He's a con artist, and I don't want to ruin the series. I highly recommend this book series though. It is young adult pacing and kind of almost young adult style writing, but in an adult epic fantasy format, which makes it very consumable, and it's fun and I enjoy them so much, but they are long as fuck, which is why it has taken me so long to finish them, because this one I think is like almost 800 pages. So yes. Then I will be reading A Map of Days by Ransom. This is the next book, the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine series. I think there's a book, 2 more books after this one. I don't know if I will be continuing the series after this. I had mentioned it in a vlog where I was talking about reading the book, and I was just not sure if I was going to continue, because it kind of seemed like the story had wrapped up in book 3, and then Ransom was like, psych, I want to make more money, and I hate those kind of money grabs, so I will read the 4th one, and if it feels like, okay, we really are just doing this to get more money, then I will not be continuing the series. But in it, having defeated the monstrous threat that nearly destroyed the peculiar world, Jacob Portman is back where his story began in Florida, except now Miss Peregrine, Emma, and their peculiar friends are with him and doing their best to blend in. But carefree days of beach visits and Normaline lessons are soon interrupted by discovery: a subterranean bunker that belonged to Jacob's grandfather, Abe, who, you know, Abe also dated Emma. So that's weird. I continue to think that's weird. Then I will be reading The Archer at Dawn by Swati Tirthala. Sorry if I said that wrong. That is the sequel to The Tiger at Midnight in the Tiger at Midnight trilogy. Essentially, two enemies have to work together to uncover a plot, and this is just a continuation of that. The Sun Mala is many things: a call for peace, a cause for celebration, and above all, a deadly competition. For Kunal and Isha, finally working together as rebel spies, it provides the perfect guides to infiltrate King Vardan's vicious court. I enjoyed the first book. Was it like mind-blowing and amazing? No, but I enjoyed it, so I will be reading the next book. Then we have Catacomb by Madeline Rue. This is the finale in the Asylum series. The second book wasn't that good, but I only have one more book and it's not a very long book, so I'm just gonna go ahead and clear out that series. Senior year is finally over, and after everything that they've been through, Dan, Abby, and Jordan are excited to take one last road trip together. And they're just not going to think about what will happen when the summer ends, because that always works for everybody, right? But on their way to visit Jordan's uncle in New Orleans, the three friends notice that they are apparently being followed. And Dan starts receiving phone messages from someone he didn't expect to hear from again, someone who died last Halloween. It's just another mystery with the same characters and the same concept. It's the same story recycled with a different mystery, which is what the Miss Peregrine books are. And at least with Madeline Rue, we stopped at 3. I'm pretty sure we stopped at 3. I read that that's the finale, but I did not check and see if she wrote more books after that, so I don't know. These books are very 2008-2012 horror. If you didn't like read young adult horror in 2008-2012, you may not know what I'm talking about, but it's all written like this. Just like this format. So, and it definitely uses the disabled and mentally ill incorrectly. But again, 2008 through 2012, that was kind of what people did with horror writing for young adults, because they couldn't include genuine horror because it would not have been approved for young adult reading. So then we have All the Lies and Painted Red by S.T. Abbey. I did not even put what these books are about because I so deeply don't want to talk about how much I enjoy them. These are the last 2 books in the Mindfuck series. The Mindfuck series is considered a romance series, a dark romance smut series. I straight up skipped the smut and just am reading it for the thriller aspects, because something about the fact that this serial killer of a woman who is getting vengeance on men who are the worst and horrible and deserve what they're getting is dating the FBI agent who's hunting her but doesn't know he's hunting her. The first 3 books had me by the throat, and also I can finish them in a night. Usually I pick them up when I can't sleep and then I just knock them out and I go to sleep. So that's why I'm enjoying them and reading them, right? It is what it is. Next we have a category called Other Books, which is non-childhood rereads and series continuations. We have Elektra by Jennifer Saint. This is an advanced reader copy. Last year I was given Ariadne as an advanced reader copy, so I'm really, really excited to read Elektra. I liked Ariadne a lot. I really like this contemporary retellings of Greek lore, and much like Circe and The Song of Achilles, it's kind of in that same genre. Elektra is about the House of Atreus is cursed, a bloodline tainted by a generational cycle of violence and vengeance. This is the story of 3 women, their fates inextricably tied to this curse, and the fickle nature of men and gods. What I like about Jennifer Saint's conversation within Ariadne was how so much of the stories within Greek lore focuses on women being the victims, even if they didn't do anything wrong. So say someone's husband said fuck you to the gods, then the woman gets punished. And Ariadne didn't want to be that woman, but then she ended up marrying a god, Dionysus. And so, I believe it was Dionysus. And so, it's just that kind of conversation within the society without being overtly feminist for the historical context. I just enjoy Jennifer Saint's writing too with regards to this. I think they're great. I think it's great, and I'm very excited, and the cover is sexy, so Then we have Juniper and Thorne by Ava Reed. Ava Reed is the author of The Wolf and the Woodsman, which I fucking loved. I kind of want to reread it. This is another advanced reader copy, and this book is an adult gothic fantasy retelling of the Juniper Tree myth. I don't know the Juniper Tree myth, actually. I need to do some research on that just for my own context within reading, but I know I like Ava Reed's writing a lot. So it's set in another time and place within the same world as The Wolf and the Woodsman, where a young witch seeks to discover her identity and escape the domination of her wizard father. I also think the cover is fucking sexy. Some people were upset because it doesn't match the Wolf and the Woodsman cover, but I didn't like I liked the, like, this cover hasn't been revealed yet cover of The Wolf and the Woodsman, but did not like the actual cover of The Wolf and the Woodsman. I don't like the original Wolf and the Woodsman cover. I think that the Juniper and Thorne cover is gorgeous, so very excited about that. Then we have Both Can Be True by Jules Macias. This is a contemporary middle grade book about two kids who join forces to save a dog, but then end up saving each other. We have Ash, who is a gender fluid kid, and you know, sometimes is more girl, sometimes is more boy, sometimes is none of the above. And then we also have Daniel, who feels he is inherently a little bit overly emotional and is a little bit overwhelmed by the expectations around that, especially as a boy. And it's them kind of learning to understand one another and support each other, as well as finding this dog. It just seems really sweet, and I just wanted to read something really sweet. So then we have Who Could That Be at This Hour by Lemony Snicket. This is the new Series of Unfortunate Events kind of series by Lemony Snicket, and it is about child Lemony Snicket. I last month read the Series of Unfortunate Events for the first time as an adult. I read it as a child, and so I reread it for the first time as an adult, and I adored it so much that I was like, give me more content, please. Like, my brain was like, is there a Series of Unfortunate Events fan fiction? And then I remembered that I like can't make myself sit and read fan fiction. My brain just won't do it. So I'm excited about reading this series. I know that it's like ongoing currently. Like, there was a book that came out not too long ago for it as well. So I'm excited about it. Then we have Forever ... by Judy Blume. I don't know why this is on my TBR. I saw it in my so it's from my list of want to read books in the library that I have tagged, and I'm currently trying to go through those and read them. I don't know why I have it tagged. I really don't. I liked Judy Blume growing up. Is it Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was like, taught me a lot. I don't know why this is on my TBR, but it is a young adult forbidden love situation. It was super controversial when it came out because it came out in the 70s, and it had explicit sex scenes in a young adult book, which is frowned upon. And the like tagline is first love, forever love, or something like that. Basically, these two girls, or these, not two girls, that would make this way more interesting. A boy and a girl like meet and they fall in love and they have sex and they're like super in love, and then their parents are like, no, you need to be separated, and then separates them for the summer, and they have to see if, you know, true love can really stand the test of summer. I'm gonna say probably not. Just because of what I know about teenagers. Then we have Hex by Rebecca Dinerston Knight. This is a queer, contemporary, witchy book. Nell is a PhD candidate learning about poisons, who super low-key high-key is in love with her mentor, Dr. Joan Callis, and Joan has a husband, and it's about Nell and her friends and her friend's boyfriend, and they sort of figure out science and university drama and all of that. All the while, Nell is like growing poisonous plants in her apartment. I don't know. I was like, queers growing poison? Tell me more. And then, so it's another one of those, it's like on my library TBR, and I think I just like skimmed the summary and was like, yeah, gays doing poison. Exciting. And then when I like went to read the Goodreads thing, I was like, why is this? I don't know if I'm gonna like this. We'll see. Then we have Season of the Witch by Sarah Reese Brennan. This is the Sabrina the Teenage Witch first book. I think it's a prequel. It's the first book. I'm not sure if it's a TV companion or if it's the thing that like came out before the TV show, or if it came out after the TV show but it's not necessarily a companion, but somebody wanted to write a book. I don't know. I never watched the last season of Sabrina because the season before it was so like, so I just didn't watch it, and I don't know. We'll see if it's good or not. Then we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is a reread for me. I have a quote from this tattooed on my body. I love this book. I love Sylvia Plath. I'm gonna reread it because I reread it every single year. It is a semi-biographical novel And by that I mean the main character is not Sylvia Plath, but it pulls from a lot of Sylvia Plath's personal experiences, and when you compare Sylvia Plath's journals to the Bell Jar, you can kind of see those direct correlations. It is about Esther, our main character, who is essentially having a mental breakdown, and it's kind of like a slow roll down a steep hill situation with the mental breakdown and the mental health facilities within the 60s and, or I guess 50s, and how they treated women with regards to this and what was considered mentally unwell. I overall am a little bit excited to read it again for the 8 millionth time, but because every single year I get a little bit better at critical reading and reviewing of books, and so every year I'm interested to see what my brain finds new in the Bell Jar, and I just continue to love it. I do have a fancy version of the Bell Jar and her poems from Barnes & Noble, like it's a leather-bound fancy version. I might read that because I have not generally read her poetry, but that's because I'm not a poetry reader. Then we have The Last Quintista by Donna Higuera. This is about Petra, who lives in a dystopian world where only a couple of hundred scientists and kids are left behind. The planet is like dying and they are going to go into space and like deep sleep space or whatever. Petra just wants to be like her abuelita, where she's a storyteller, and that is what Petra wants to be and wants to do and thinks that's an important role. I would agree. When Petra wakes up a couple of hundred years later, she finds out that there's people on the ship that have taken control, and I don't know if they're humans or not, have taken control and are trying to erase the human history and the Earth's history from everyone's memories, and like, you don't talk about it and that kind of thing. And Petra uses storytelling to save them and remind everyone of the stories of the past. This is labeled as a middle grade. I think it's right on the cusp of like late middle grade, early young adult, so we'll see. Then we have The Girls Are Also Nice Here by Laurie Elizabeth Flynn. This is an adult thriller. Two former besties return to their college reunion, which I didn't know that they had college reunions. My high school reunion is supposed to be this year, my 10-year one. I wouldn't go to it. Even if they paid me, I wouldn't go. To find, the besties find that they are being stalked by someone who wants revenge for what they did 10 years before. What did they do? We don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I like these kind of thriller mysteries. I just read The Sorority Murder last month, and it was kind of in that same mindset. Not so much 10 years difference, but it seems like it'll be an interesting one. So then we have Wakenhurst by Michelle Paver. Art recommended this to me as I was writing my TBR. It is a gothic horror, and it is about, in Edwardian Suffolk, a manor house stands alone in the lost corner of the fens, a glinting wilderness of water whose whispering reeds guard ancient secrets. Maud is a lonely child growing up without a mother, ruled by her repressive father. When he finds a painted medieval devil in a graveyard, unallowed forces are awakened. I like atmospheric horror when it is like, don't know what the fuck's going on, but the vibes are good. A good example of that is The House of Hollow. I enjoy those kinds of books. I am hoping that this is good, especially since that's where Art got her last name from. So then for the Queer Book Club read, we have the next books in the Swords and Fire series by Melissa Caruso. I did read the first book in January, which was part of the, we're basically reading through Melissa Caruso's books, kind of like almost like a readathon, but not a readathon, for the Queer Book Crew. I haven't read them. I know that Art really loves them. I know that Alicia, the other person that is a moderator with me in the book crew, also really enjoyed them. I am interested to see if I like them. The first and second book are definitely an audiobook. The third book is a book I would have to read with my eyes, so it better be good. They told me it was, but it better be good. We'll see. I should just start a section though when I do my TBRs that are just like, Art told me to read this. Because I feel like a lot of them I'm like, I don't know, Art told me to read it, so I'm gonna read it. But that's my TBR. Those are the books. Oh, I didn't talk about what the books are though. Those two books in the Swords and Fire series is The Defiant Heir and The Unbound Empire. This is the second and third book, like I was saying. It's a adult fantasy series where in the Raverin Empire magic is scarce, and those born with powers are strictly controlled, taken away as children, and conscripted into the Falcon Army. So I'm excited to read it. I also really appreciate, I'm also not sure, like, it's labeled as both young adult and adult in Goodreads. Art told me it's adult fantasy, so I'm counting it as adult fantasy towards that goal that I have this year to read more adult books. All in all, I'm excited about what I'm reading this month. I'm excited about what that's going to look like on my my reading blanket, and it's going to be a good time. So that's my TBR, however many books that was. I hope you enjoyed this video. Are you reading any of these books? Are you in the queer book crew, and are you going to read any of those things along with us? Maybe I'll buddy read with somebody. Probably not, though. I read my books too fast to buddy read with people. Let me know. Let me know in the comments down below, though, if you're gonna read any of these, if you have read any of these, what the vibe is. Like, do I need to be concerned? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and click that little notification bell. If you think you're already subscribed, you should just double check, just in case, to make sure you're still subscribed. Sometimes you get unsubscribed because YouTube, I don't know, hates me. If you didn't like this video, let me know in the comments down below how I can make it better for you. I will see you guys again later this week on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then I post every single week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to drink your water and take your meds and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.